All right, and here we are back for another. It's gonna be kind of just a Monday free range. I got a couple of topics to go over, but just sort of we're just gonna hang out and rant about some stuff, like I tend to usually do. I know the two shows I've done since I've been back, there were weeks off in between for various different personal reasons. So when I came back, I had a whole bunch of stuff to talk about and just ranted and went off on everything tonight. Might wind up being a little bit of a shorter show. We'll see what happens. But so far, I think we've started. I made sure my microphone was not muted. We're doing good so far. Happy Monday, everybody. Thanks for being here. First and foremost, as always, a little bit of business. If you are tuning in for the first time, thank you for being here. If you're tuning in for the 100th time, also thank you for being here. But if you are new, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications so you get notified every time I go live or post a new video. As of right now, I'm really only doing live. Like the stream, share it out there for other people to see. And if you are catching this on a replay, either on YouTube or if you're watching / listening to me on Spotify, you can catch me live every Monday at 6:30 p.m. California time, Pacific Standard Time. So if you want to get in here and be part of the chat, that is always fun. So we're going to try a little something because it's almost Halloween, and you're going to have to let me know if you can hear this or not. It might create like an echo or do something weird. When I've tried to play music in the background in the past, it's gotten weird, but I'm going to try. Let me know if that's audible. Try to have kind of some spooky lo-fi beats going in the background. One, hopefully it works. Two, hopefully it doesn't cause any other issues. Or let me turn the volume down just a little bit more there. Just enough to kind of be there, but not quite. And of course, we've got Lady Marine in the chat. Good evening to you. I know you're on a time difference here. I appreciate you hanging out for as long as you can stay awake. But what's been going on? What's everybody up to? How's your week? How's your weekend? So far, I did not have to move out of my house again due to termites. You had someone from the fumigation company come out and do an inspection, and it sounds like tenting is probably not necessary. But also haven't really heard anything back from either the fumigation company or the owners of the property, who apparently have been in Italy for the past, I don't know, month, 2 months. I've been having to try to message the guy on WhatsApp or through email because he's like, oh, I can't get phone calls or text messages over here. Hasn't read a message or responded to anything in almost 2 weeks. Kind of concerning for a lot of reasons. It's almost the first, whereas there should be a credit of about 4 days of rent coming off of my rent for this month, you know, for the whole 4 days that I wasn't in my house because it was supposed to be tented but wasn't. I can do that math myself, but it's like, you know, I feel like the owner or the landlord is supposed to kind of be like, okay, this is the credit that you're going to get, make the check out to this, because I have to make out a cashier's check and mail it to him. It just doesn't really matter. I'll have to mail it to Arizona, but if he's in Italy, he's not going to get it anytime soon anyways. But the point is, I want to do my due diligence, pay my rent on time. Has not sent a utility bill in over 2 months. Tried asking about that. Still no word back. But hey, so far, my house isn't getting tented again. So cheers to that. And just, yeah, again, happy Monday, everybody. Thanks for tuning in and watching, whether you're catching on a replay or whether you want to come in here and give me a hard time in the chat live. Let's see, we got a couple of sort of just little like rapid fire topics, kind of. Some music stuff, because, you know, I still want to talk about stuff like that. Here we go. Stuff that is normally, I would say, is good. It makes me happy. This is kind of a not so good story, but let's pull this guy up here. So I talked about this a few months back. Brian Setzer, I guess, has been diagnosed with some sort of I think it was maybe an autoimmune disorder or something that was, unfortunately, of all things, ironically, very much affecting his hands. So I guess their Stray Cats got back together and we're going to do a tour. And they've already had to cancel shows due to, quote, serious illness. Stray Cat singer and guitarist Brian Setzer announced that the band had to regrettably cancel the opening show of their 2025 tour. The Stray Cats were forced to cancel the opening night of their 2025 tour on Saturday, October 25th in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, because singer and guitarist Brian Setzer was unable to perform due to serious illness. They posted on their social media channels saying, quote, "I am heartbroken to share. Due to serious illness, I am unable to perform and very regrettably have to cancel tonight's show. I know this affects so many people and I'm devastated to have to deliver this news," read the message that was posted on Saturday, October 24th on the band's social media channels. "I've been trying to do everything I can to go on and do. I've been trying to do everything I can to go on and do with this show, but it is just not possible. I've been looking forward so much to being on stage with my bandmates again and playing for all of our amazing fans. I'm gutted," Setzer added. Refunds were available at point of purchase. The singer-guitarist, who also fronts Brian Setzer Orchestra, received get well wishes from fans. Let's see if it gets into like what, to kind of recap what's going on with him, because I know I talked about this in a stream a while back. Here we go. Brian Setzer's health battle. Back in February, Setzer announced he discovered, so he said, a quote, "Discovered I have an autoimmune disease and could no longer play guitar. However, he received treatment at the Mayo Clinic and shared in posts in March and April that he was making progress recovering. So much so that the Stray Cats announced a fall tour in August featuring Setzer with his Stray Cats bandmates, bassist Lee Rocker and drummer Slim Jim Phantom. It's unclear whether his latest health setback is related to the autoimmune disease and if the band will play the rest of the dates on the scheduled tour, which includes a show Sunday on October 26th, which would have been yesterday. It's slated to run through November 16th in Phoenix. They're also slated to release new music. Earlier this week, in advance of the tour, Stray Cats released 2 new songs, Stampede and a cover of Eddie Cochran's Teenage Heaven. It's the trio's first new music in 6 years. I honestly would have thought it would have been longer than that. So, yeah, kind of some unfortunate news there in that, we heard many months ago that Brian Setzer was having these health battles, but, obviously they booked a tour, thought he was doing better, but unfortunately doesn't seem like it. Can you hear the lo-fi beats? Can you hear the music? Is it creating an echo or doing anything weird? Trying to kind of have some spooky lo-fi in the background. So that's a bummer for Brian Setzer and Stray Cats fans. Let's see here. I didn't quite skim through this one before I pulled it up, but let's just take a quick look before we get any further. Okay. All right. And of course, now my laptop is lagging and being super slow. Is it my Wi-Fi? Hope it's not my Wi-Fi. Am I glitching out over here? Because my laptop's being super sluggish right now. I either have too many tabs open or it's the music. I might have to cut the music if it's making my laptop bog down. So, I knew I should have done like a reboot like I normally do with my laptop. So I figured out I used to have this super fun problem where sometimes I would open up my laptop, get everything all set up and ready, start my live stream, and everybody would be like, "Oh man, you sound like Darth Vader, your voice is all pitched down." So I would like reboot the laptop, whatever, everything's fine. So what I figured out now is I pull up some video software, do a quick little 5-second test, make sure my voice sounds good, everything's fine. If it doesn't, I can just unplug my audio interface and plug it back in and that fix it. But apparently now if I don't restart or reboot my laptop, now it's being sluggish. Or again, like I said, I might just have a gabillion tabs open that's not helping matters, and then trying to stream music in the background. So anyways, got rid of. I'm not watching my own YouTube video in the background, so maybe that'll help. Let's talk about the Super Bowl halftime show. What do you say? I am the type of person who could really care less about the sport ball and everything, but I think it's interesting that the NFL and whoever's booking the halftime shows for the Super Bowls in the last several years has been so incredibly tone deaf to its audience and what people want. Like, I get, okay, they're trying to aim towards like a younger crowd, or they're trying to pick people that are newer, more relevant, more whatever, but it's like, these are not the type of people that really watch football anyways. Okay, sure, yeah, maybe they'll tune in for 15 minutes for the halftime show. More than likely, they'll catch clips on TikTok and social media and whatever after that, or watch it on YouTube. But the acts that they have had performing at the Super Bowl for several years now are not they're just not good picks. Like, I think it's very strange to me that like they pretty much will not book any rock bands, country artists, anything that's like an actual band with instruments. I mean, I know they usually all lip sync anyways, but yeah. My understanding, the company that picks them is owned by Jay-Z. I've heard that too, and I guess it kind of makes sense. But it's like, who the hell put him in charge of the Super Bowl halftime shows? Because it's been miss after miss after miss for several years now. I will say that while I'm not a fan, and I have a lot of reasons to dislike her, personally, musically, everything, all that, whatever. I will give credit where credit is due. The year that Lady Gaga performed, I think that was 2016 or something. She really performed. She did not lip sync. She did not play to a track. She really played piano. She really sang. So I was like, respect for that. Because I think one of the only other times that's happened in recent history was Prince, where he almost died because it started raining right when he started doing the solo for Purple Rain, and he's wearing those big giant platform boots on that slippery stage, and it's raining, and he was actually performing live, playing guitar, singing. Everybody all lip syncs now. It's like, that's an even bigger question. Let's talk about that question. Why even bother having this like big grandiose halftime show if the artists aren't even performing? Okay, yeah, cool. They bring in the stage and lights, and there's fireworks, and there's whatever stuff, but it's like, they're not really singing. The musicians, if there's musicians on stage, they're not really performing. Like, what's even the point? Like, who even cares anymore? So, Bad Bunny, Super Bowl 60 controversy explained why the NFL's halftime show pick is getting MAGA backlash. I don't even think it's just MAGA. It's just people that are like, who? Honestly, like I said that, like, I know that's like the typical like liberal playbook thing of like when they're trying to just like disrespect somebody or put somebody down, they're like, oh, who? Never heard of her. But like, seriously, Bad Bunny, like, who? Seriously, I wholeheartedly, very and sincerely mean that. Really, one of the only things that I've heard so far is that Bad Bunny made some quip about, oh, you guys have this many months to learn Spanish if you want to understand any of my lyrics and my songs. And it's like, get the hell out of here. Like, you're going to come in here with this big old attitude about, oh, well, I'm going to play the, biggest sporting event of the year, but you all need to learn Spanish to understand my music. I almost, believe it or not, I'm really trying to work on my cussing, and I almost said one of the really bad ones. Bad Bunny has drawn the ire of politicians and pundits alike following the announcement that he would be performing during the Super Bowl 60 halftime show. The Puerto Rican superstar is perhaps the world's most famous artist. Perhaps the world's most famous artist. Again, I'm sitting here saying, who? I mean, okay, I get it. I'm over the age of 30, so maybe it's not my demographic, but perhaps the world's most famous artist. I could just off the top of my head name a ton of other bands and artists that I think are far more famous that I think would be better to perform at a football game. Metallica, George Strait. if I really sat here and wanted to think of a bunch of names, I could probably think of a bunch, but that's just two that come to mind. That there's been a lot of talk of, like, there should be a Metallica halftime show. George Strait should perform. Like, world's most famous artist. Get out of here. I only know who this person is because they're performing at the Super Bowl and there's controversy over it. That isn't enough to make him a viable option in the eyes of some, namely those who support President Donald Trump. Well, we'll skip what Trump has to say because whatever, that doesn't really matter, and that's just going to rile people up more. Who is Bad Bunny? Bad Bunny, born. Okay, don't care. He's 31. All right, so even he's too old for his own demographic. Bad Bunny is also a sports fanatic, having taken part in the NBA and MLB Celebrity All-Star Games, respectively. His global appeal and sports fandom made him an ideal candidate to land the gig, according to Jay-Z. There you go, Steph. Whose entertainment company, Rock Nation, helps the NFL select the halftime performer. So that's all it is. It's just, it's dumb is what it is. Why is Bad Bunny controversial for the Super Bowl 60? Let's get into it. Bad Bunny is arguably the biggest artist in the world. Again, no. No. This needs to be said.
No, man. Shit, no, man. I believe you get your ass kicked saying something like that, man.
Biggest artist in the world. Yeah, okay, whatever. He also has experience performing under the Super Bowl banner, having lended his voice to Shakira and Jennifer Lopez when the two headlined the Super Bowl 54 spectacle. Latin superstar is at a peak in his career. Blah, 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 blah. Bad Bunny's been vocal about his distaste of President Donald Trump. Well, that's fine. Apparently, he doesn't live here. 2017, while performing a live benefit concert held to raise money for disaster relief, Bad Bunny sported a T-shirt emblemized it said, "Are you a tweeter or a president?" He also called out Trump with vulgarities in a 2020 song. Shocker. He is a proud Puerto Rican whose heritage flows through his music, publicly supported Democratic presidential nominee. Like, does this person even live here? Does he even live in America? Like, I don't know. He goes on, like, concern over protecting migrant crowdgoers, saying ICE could be outside, and it's something that we were talking about and very concerned about. Well, if there's people in the crowd that are there illegally and aren't supposed to be here, then they should be rounded up, and yeah. SNL. Let's see. I'm very excited to be doing the Super Bowl, and I know that people all around the world who love my music are also happy. He told the audience in English before switching to his native Spanish, especially all the Latinos and Latinas across the world and here in the United States, all those who have worked to open doors. It's more than an achievement for myself. It's an achievement for all of us. It shows our footprint and contribution to this country that no one will ever be able to take away or erase. He suggested that those who don't understand Spanish yet spend the next 4 months learning, recommending they use ChatGPT for help. So, Bad Bunny comments, Yankees game. Okay, this just seems to kind of go on and on and on and on. But I think I kind of got the meat and potatoes there of the, him basically telling everybody, "Oh, you have 4 months to learn Spanish." I'm like, get out of here. Here's an interesting one, since we're still sort of on the topic of like entertainment stuff. Let's talk about, and I'm probably going to really butcher his name, but I'm going to really try my best here. Guillermo del Toro, renowned filmmaker, known for films such as Pan's Labyrinth, the earlier Hellboy movies, along with many other very interesting. He's another very, very dedicated filmmaker like Christopher Nolan, where he will not compromise his vision or what he wants to do just to get a film out. Like he makes a movie, he does it the way he wants to do it, and if a studio or production company doesn't want to work with him, he finds someone who does, or he just keeps pushing until he can get the movie out. Or sometimes his projects don't see the light of day for those very reasons, but he doesn't compromise. And I appreciate that. And I don't think a day goes by now that I don't see stuff on social media that either I scroll across it or somebody sends it to me. Stuff where it's like AI generated. Oh, what if we took the song Sober by Tool, but made it like old, 1960s soul? And okay, don't get me wrong. These songs that are, AI generated are interesting. It's an interesting take on songs by bands that I like and everything. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, I don't like this. I really don't like this. It's somebody pulled up an app or some software or something and typed in, like, do a Tool song in the style of old 1960s soul, and then it spit out a song. I don't like it. I've been getting now, people have been sending me stuff where it's like, it looks like a Pixar film trailer, but then it's like some sort of jab at, current events and things going on in the world today that are very dark and serious, but it looks like a happy Pixar film, but it's got to be an AI generated trailer. And then you just see the other ones where it's just like weird, wild, crazy stuff happening and whatever, but then it's like you watch it and you're like, nah, something's not right. That's AI. I don't like it. Stop using it. Stop sending it to me. Seriously, like, it all kind of sounds like a big joke when I make references to like Terminator and Skynet, and like, is this like, you want Skynet? This is how you get Skynet. But seriously, like, AI, I don't know. People are like, oh, it's a useful tool. Like, it's only as useful as the people using it. And like, okay, fine. Maybe I've watched too many sci-fi movies in my life, whatever. But it's like, this is not good. But also, for the reason of what we're going to talk about here, is generative AI that can create music. It can write scripts, screenplays, novels, can make fake movie trailers. It can create images and videos and phone conversations that are completely fake, but hard to tell that they're fake. Like, you could really blackmail some people with this shit. Like, we are really going down a dangerous path with generative AI, and everyone's all like playing around with it. Like, oh, it's super fun. Oh, I asked Grok this, and this, and oh, I use Chat GPT, whatever. Like, people in school, kids in elementary school, in high school, in college are able to use this shit now to get through their classes. And they're like, no. It was one thing when the internet became more prevalent. And okay, now to do a research paper or an essay or something, you don't have to go to the library. You don't have to pull out a bunch of books and cite your sources. You could go on the internet. Fine. You're still typing stuff in, reading articles, reading things, citing sources, whatever. Now they're just like, oh, Chat GPT here, write me an essay. Like, no, quit playing with this shit. It's not good. So, filmmaker Guillermo del Toro. I feel like I always have to say it very slow because, I mean, white boy living in Southern California, you'd think I'd be better at this. But anyways, he said he would rather die than use generative AI in his films. Not interested. Cheers to you, good sir. He has a new version of Frankenstein coming out soon that I'm very interested in seeing. And with this one, he kind of did like what I don't know who the director was. It's not on the top of my head, but the new Nosferatu that came out last Christmas with Bill Skarsgård as the Count. I appreciated the fact that for Nosferatu, they did not show what Count Orlok was going to look like before the movie came out. I feel like movies these days show too much, they give away too much, so by the time you've watched 2 or 3 trailers, you've pretty much seen the whole movie, you've seen all the interesting bits, you've seen everything you want to see. But with Nosferatu, I very rarely go to the theater anymore, just because, one, I have a hard time staying awake during movies and I don't want to pay $15 to $20 to take a nap in a theater. But I went and saw Nosferatu because Bill Skarsgård has played some very interesting characters, most notably Pennywise in the recent versions of Stephen King's It movies, and they did a 2-parter. He's a very talented, very interesting character actor who really, really gets into his character. So when he was brought on to do Nosferatu and they didn't show you what he looked like before the movie came out, it's like, my interest is piqued, and I went and saw it in the theater. Same thing with this one, Frankenstein. They have not shown you what the monster looks like. And I think that's a very smart move to get people to want to go see it. Hey, buddy, what's going on, Kyle? New Frankenstein. Yeah, I'm very interested. There's been a couple trailers out so far. Oscar Isaac is Dr. Frankenstein. Not terribly familiar with the other actors in it, but yeah, I like the fact that they're keeping the look of the monster secret until you go see it. I did read, I think it's going to get a limited theatrical release. Yeah, I think it's basically made for Netflix, but I think they are going to release it in theaters, even if it's like brief and limited. Honestly, I'm of the opinion that if your curriculum can be replaced by AI, it wasn't that important in the first place. That's a fair point as well. But I think the younger generations coming up are dumb enough as it is. But they don't need AI helping them to make them even dumber. But, anyways, generative AI, where you can, like I said, you can create music, you can create books, movies, screenplays, scripts, movie trailers, everything. It's a dangerous tool. Everyone's, oh, it's a tool. It depends on how people use it. I think it's a dangerous tool. And as artists and as creative people, we should all be worried about that. I mean, that was when there's all the big strike in Hollywood. I think it was last year sometime, the whole SAG after a union, everything. So they're all striking. One of the things that people were particularly striking over was to make sure that, writers and people could not be replaced by AI. Now, kind of to Kyle's point about the curriculum, if AI can generate a more interesting script and screenplay than an actual writer, well, then maybe the writers need to step up their game and stop just churning out a bunch of woke nonsense that nobody wants shoved in their face. But I'm still on the side of AI is no bueno. Not liking it. During a recent sit-down with NPR, Del Toro asserted that he would rather die than use artificial intelligence, particularly generative AI, in any of his future films. He compared words are hard. He compared the growing culture fascination surrounding the controversial tech to the arrogance displayed by the titular literary madman in his Netflix adaptation of Frankenstein. AI, particularly generative AI, I'm not interested, nor will I ever be interested, Del Toro said. I'm 61, and I hope to be able to remain uninterested in using it at all until I croak. The other day, somebody wrote me an email, said, what is your stance on AI? And my answer was very short. I said I'd rather die. That's fair. The Pan's Labyrinth director explained that the true dangers aren't with the technology itself, but with natural stupidity. There it is, which could drive the mishandling of AI. He added that natural stupidity is what pushes most of the world's worst features. He went on to connect the character of Victor Frankenstein to those at the forefront of AI development. I did not want to have the arrogance of Victor Frankenstein be similar in some ways to... I did want it to have the arrogance of Victor Frankenstein be similar in some ways to the tech bros. He's kind of blind, creating something without considering the consequences. And I think we have to take a pause and consider what we're doing. Del Toro's Frankenstein, adapted from Mary Shelley's 1818 novel of the same name, stars Jacob Elordi, Oscar Isaac, Mia Goth, Christopher Waltz, and Ralph Ineson. The film comes to Netflix November 7th. I was about to say something, then I read those last few sentences and my brain went blank. Arrogance, Frankenstein, tech bros, kind of blind. Oh, so kind of like it was kind of a similar story with Oppenheimer, and delving into first of all the another great, very talented director, one of my favorites, Christopher Nolan, and his retelling of the story of Oppenheimer and the father of the atom bomb and everything and stuff, and just sort of what he went through, and starting to ask that question of like, just because we can do this, does it mean that we should do it? And thinking like the ramifications of creating this technology and then unleashing it on the world, and like once it's out there, and like what are other people going to do with it? So a little food for thought there on that one. We talked about stray cats. I can get rid of that one. Those two are kind of funny. We'll do those together. It is an interesting headline I woke up to. I mean, didn't like wake up to, but when I got up and took my phone off of do not disturb and everything and seeing like, suggested headlines and things of that nature. I think this will more than likely guarantee another Republican president. There's talk, and not that they're going to try to run together as running mates, but talk of both Gavin Newsom, governor of California, and Kamala Harris both position themselves as potential 2028 White House contenders. Newsom says he would be lying otherwise about potential presidential ambitions. And let's be real, we've known this for years. He, deny last year and everything. Oh, I'm not gonna, like, he didn't swoop in, and because I think he knew, enough that whoever got shoehorned in there when they pulled Biden at the last second was going to be criticized because of they weren't voted in during a primary and nobody chose this candidate, whatever. So I think with that last minute switcheroo, Newsom kind of knew. He's like, let's go ahead and let Kamala go throw herself under the bus and go be out there, because he knew there's no way she's going to win. And he just kind of sat back, bided his time. Now he's trying to be all Mr. Tough Guy on social media, like he's trying to be like Trump Jr. And it just comes off as a little bit like try too hard, pick me, look at me. And my only hope is that the rest of the country sees through all of his bullcrap and hates him as much as I do. Because apparently the residents of California are retarded and voted this man into office, voted him back in during a recall effort, or at least didn't vote him out, and then voted him in for a second legitimate term when his term came up on normal term limits. I'm using the word term too much. It's lost all its meaning. Term. But it's my hope that if Newsom runs for president, that the majority of people in this country will see through his crap. Because, I mean, look at what he ruined San Francisco, and then they're like, well, what are you going to do next? And he said, hold my beer. And then he ruined California with a smile on his face. So why not just go big or go home and try to ruin the entire country? Yeah. Pure evil. He's just got that slime ball, used car salesman, just con artist scam. I can't even listen to him talk. He's got the gravelly voice and he says every other word. It's like, you are a public figure elected to a high office. You need to hire a speech therapist or go to Toastmasters or go to do something where you can become a better public speaker without always and saying in between every word and the thing learn how to speak better. You're on television, you're speaking in front of you're doing press conferences. Yeah, I'm gonna get to that one in a second too. Yeah, we're gonna talk about the comparison between that and the White House and how everybody's losing their minds while one is being privately funded, one is being funded by tax dollars. I'll let you guys figure out which one's which. We'll talk about it in a few minutes, but of course, because Orange Man bad, everything he does has to be horrible, even though we're not paying for that one. But yeah, we're gonna get into that in a minute. So let's see what this has to say. I think it's a video. Damn it. Nope. Wait. Maybe. Nope. No. Okay. I think it's just a video. So not much else to say there. It just sounds like Newsom and Harris are both separately gonna try to contend for the Democratic ticket for president. Time is it? 7:05. I got time for this one. So I think I intended to talk about this one last week, and I got sidetracked, and this one got lost in the shuffle, and I missed it. The irony that I just cannot wrap my brain around, that And I think it's somewhere in this article here. It says that Newsom signed some bill into play or whatever, something giving people who choose to work as a 1099 independent contractor for either Uber or Lyft, sometimes both, are closer to being able to unionize after a crucial vote. So going back to how people are already dumb enough as it is, and we don't need AI to make things. I mean, we've already got our idiot box right here. You don't know something, you can Google it. This right here, there's no reason to be stupid anymore. So you say, oh, I don't know something. Let me look it up real quick. It's in your pocket. It's at your fingertips at all times. You are never more than a few steps away from your phone. And if you say that you are, you're lying. You have technology and answers and just every right here at our fingertips. And people are getting dumber. Uber and Lyft drivers in California want to unionize. So for those of you that are a little slow or maybe aren't terribly familiar with the platform and how this works, if you drive for Uber or Lyft or Uber Eats or DoorDash or Instacart or any of those app-based services, and you're listening to me, so I'm definitely making you dumber. What's up, Corey? People will definitely get dumber listening to me. I can guarantee that. When you choose to drive for one of these app-based services, you are not an employee. Okay? You are a 1099 independent contractor. So that means you fill out a 1099-C form when you sign up to work for them. You go drive people around, whatever. Uber and Lyft take a percentage of that rate of however much that ride costs. If they tip you, you get 100% of the tip. And in January, somewhere around January or February, they send you tax documents that you then have to claim the income you made from Uber or Lyft on your taxes. But because that was untaxed income, you have to pay as if you were basically self-employed, because you are an independent contractor, not an employee. Okay, so I think now that we're clear on what 1099 independent contractor means, it essentially means you are self-employed. It essentially means you work for yourself. If you go out and you start a business, you want to, like, oh, I want to open a shop and, sell, soaps and candles and whatever and stuff, and you are essentially working for yourself. You do not get a minimum wage out of that. You do not automatically get some sort of medical benefits, paid time off, retirement plan, anything. I mean, you as the business owner and shop owner can set those things up for yourself, but you are working for yourself. There is nobody else that is going to provide those types of perks and benefits to you, like when you work for a company that provides those things to you. So if you go out and drive for Uber is not required under law to pay you a minimum wage because you are not an employee. It is not an at-will employment situation. You are an independent contractor, just like if I went to somebody and said, hey, I need you to build me a website for my live stream and my podcast, and you tell me what your time is worth to build it and design it and then to maintain it every month, and I will pay you that. And that money goes straight into their pocket, and then they have to do their taxes and claim that and figure that all out at the end of the year. If I wanted somebody to make graphics and stuff for me, I go find someone that does graphic design and say, hey, can you make this one logo for me? And I will pay you for said logo, and that's it. I'm paying them for a service. I don't have to give them health insurance. I don't have to give them paid time off. I don't have to pay them minimum wage. They tell me, okay, yeah, you want this, it'll be $300, whatever. I pay it. That's it. That's the end of our transaction. You work for Uber. You work for Lyft. You are a self-employed independent contractor. You are not entitled to any of those things. And that is part of the platform, is you don't have a schedule. You don't have a boss. You don't have to be there at 7 a.m. You don't have to be there until 3:30 in the afternoon. You don't have to take a mandated 30-minute off-the-clock lunch. You don't have to take a 10-minute break every 6 hours or 2 hours or whatever the thing is. That is the freedom of you drive when you want to, you don't drive when you don't want to, but you're essentially self-employed. These morons want to unionize. It's really fascinating. You really can't make this stuff up. Yeah, how many times have we all done that? You're in bed scrolling and then just splat, just for whatever reason, just like your muscles fail and your hand just drops your phone right on your face. It amazes me. It amazes me that like these people do this. They think it's going to be this great source of income, and then they're like, "I'm making less than minimum wage." It's like, well, yeah, it's not a job. You're out there. You're doing it when you want to, and also driving for those services. Depending on when you choose to drive, the rates are different. If you're just like taking people to doctor's appointments and to the airport and stuff, and like a Tuesday morning or Tuesday afternoon, the rates are quite a bit lower. Like honestly, you got to be like downtown, like 1 o'clock in the morning, picking up drunk people from bars and concerts and stuff to really make it worth it. And then who the hell wants to do that? In summary, a bill allowing Lyft and Uber drivers to unionize was sent to the governor's desk this week after it was tied to an insurance bill that benefits both companies. My company made all the employees in Canada change their contact to that, but they are still required to be at work at a certain time. Yeah, no, that's bullcrap. You can't do that. Part of the like being self-employed thing or being a 1099 is that it's like, no, it's like I'm not an employee. I don't have a schedule. I don't have a boss. Yeah, no, that's some shady stuff. California ride-hailing drivers just won a crucial round in their pursuit on the right to unionize, but the political drama around the process and among the state's drivers groups raises plenty of questions about what comes next. Lawmakers sent Assembly Bill 1340 to Governor Gavin Newsom on Tuesday. This was several weeks ago because, like I said, I'm always way late to the party on the news. But it's merely a formality. The governor had already expressed support for the legislation in a deal he announced with Senate President Pro Tem Mike McGuire and Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas at the end of August. The state's top politicians tied the unionization bill to Senate Bill 371, which is backed by Uber and Lyft, which the legislature passed today. It drastically lowers the amount of uninsured and underinsured insurance coverage Uber and Lyft are required to provide. What? Uninsured and underinsured insurance coverage they're required to provide. So they argue inflates costs for both drivers and passengers. In exchange, the ride-hailing giants dropped their opposition to the unionization bill. I'm not entirely sure what that whole sentence is supposed to mean, but I definitely feel like you should have good insurance if you're doing rideshare. Critics of the deal say it mostly benefits the ride-hailing companies, which in 2020 wrote and passed a ballot proposition to keep drivers classified as independent contractors. Both firms are likely to drive a hard bargain with a drivers union, experts say. I think it's a sign that it's a sign of California politics that these large tech companies are literally getting their cake and eating it too. Uber called the deal a compromise, but a spokesperson would not answer Cal Matters questions about whether the company commits to bargaining in good faith if the drivers vote to form a union. It's like seriously, like, am I the only one that's reading this just thinking, like, how stupid are these people? You want to unionize something where you were supposed to be an independent contractor. So I don't know. There's that. Let's talk about renovations to large federal buildings. And then I think this might wind up being the last topic for the night. So I said this might be a little bit of a shorter one, but I do look forward to coming on here and hanging out with you guys and ranting. It feels good to rant. It feels good to get it out there, you know. So before I even click on any articles, I just wanted to show you guys. You probably won't really be able to see it because the text will be kind of small, but just doing a Google search before I click on any articles, before I commit to reading anything, I just Googled White House construction. The headlines here from Yahoo: Trump just announced a new construction project amid ballroom blowback. Some news source called Roll Call. Taxpayers will pay plenty over the years for Trump's massive ballroom, experts say. PBS, 9 things to know about the $250 million ballroom Trump is adding to the White House. ABC, could the demolition of the White House's entire East Wing have been stopped? The Guardian, East Wing of White House reduced to rubble as part of Trump's ballroom. USA Today, satellite before and after images revealed dramatic White House East Wing demolition. So right there, just in the headlines, everything is like, he's ruining the White House. He's completely demolished the East Wing. How could he do such a thing? And I know. Even from Fox News, you got to take it with a big grain of salt. But this is the only one that, like, the headline wasn't immediately negative. So let's just see what Fox News has to say about the photos of the making of Trump's White House ballroom crap.
The problem head on.
Get out of here, advertisements. Making of Trump's White House ballroom, a look at the construction progress. New 90,000 square foot space will accommodate 650 guests and be funded by president and private donors. I'm going to say that again for those of you that might be in the back of the room or might be a little slow. It will be funded by the president and private donors. Everyone's throwing this big fit. And I'll look this up too, the history of all the many different presidents over the years that have done big construction projects on the White House. Like, they're acting like this is the first time there's been any sort of renovation or construction ever done on the White House in the history of our country. History is being rewritten on the White House grounds, where a new formal ballroom is rising in place of the East Wing. The project has become a political lightning rod as images of its construction reignite debate over President Donald Trump's imprint on the nation's most iconic address. While the White House has hosted countless ceremonial events, it has never had a dedicated ballroom. The new structure will fill that void, replacing the historic East Wing with a space designed to host large-scale gatherings. Ballroom is estimated to cost $250 million and will be financed jointly by Trump and private donors. Well, the White House has pledged to release details on the individuals and corporations funding the ballroom's construction. A comprehensive breakdown of contributions has not yet been made public. And here's a look at the construction so far. One small little section there. Everybody's losing their mind like he just took a wrecking ball to the whole place. He got mad or forgets it. Yeah, Yeah, I've seen those memes. Those are good. It's like, you might want to sit this one out, Hillary. Talking about the sanctity of the White House and whatever. So yeah, there's White House reduced to rubble. It's like, it was the East Wing. It was the East Wing, not the entire White House. Everybody calm down. During a July 31st briefing, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt detailed the administration's plan to construct a 90,000 square foot ballroom on the White House grounds. Leavitt said the new ballroom will accommodate approximately 650 seated guests and will stay true to the classical design of the White House. Yeah, so that's what's going on at the White House right now. It has never had a dedicated ballroom, and it's being done to a very small section of the White House, and it's being privately funded. Privately funded. Now let's take a look at what old Gavin Newsom is doing over here in California. Secrecy and cost overruns plague California's billion-dollar capital annex project. Oh no, say it ain't so. For more than half a decade, advocates of the state capitol have sounded the alarm about the $1.1 billion capital annex project. This venture is a textbook example of how not to run a public works project. All Californians will be affected by its rampant secrecy, non-disclosure agreements, massive cost overruns, and the dissemination of our treasured capital park. experts and appointed officials tasked with protecting the historical Capitol building have strongly argued for cost-effective, transparent alternatives that preserve the Capitol's historic integrity and public access, but every concern was ignored. I'd also like to point out that while I was Googling and like looking up these articles to let's talk about what's going on at the White House, let's talk about what's going on at the state capitol here in California, tons of articles and pictures about the White House. I was actually hard pressed. I really could not find many, if any, pictures of what's going on at the California state capitol. So once again, it just shows you that you don't hate mainstream media enough. Again, White House, small section being demolished to add a ballroom, which the White House has never had, being privately funded. Everybody loses their minds. California state capitol practically being demolished to do God knows what with tax dollars. Blinders. Nobody cares. Sean King, of all people, had a good take about it and said it was a good idea so they don't waste money on tents. Remember when Barack? Yeah, I was gonna try to look that Pepperidge Farm. Remembers? I was gonna try to look that up too. I think the Daily Wire posted something on their Instagram or whatever, where it was like the history of all the previous presidents that have done very large renovation projects to the White House. Again, people are literally acting like this is the first time any sort of construction or renovation has been done on the White House. And yeah, Obama ripped out a big section of the White House, put in an indoor basketball court. Other presidents have done other very large projects. But again, orange man bad, doesn't matter what he does. It was like after the whole Tylenol thing, and like women were literally going out and just like chomping down on Tylenol just to like make their rage bait videos. And the one woman that wound up in intensive care on a ventilator because she literally overdosed on Tylenol. Now this is no longer an issue of a pregnant woman taking Tylenol and whether it's going to affect her child or not. Like any over-the-counter medication you take, cough syrup, aspirin, ibuprofen, allergy medicine, anything that you take has instructions on there of do not exceed certain amount of dosage in a 24-hour period. And that's what this person did because they wanted to make their rage bait video for Trump. And I swear Trump could come out tomorrow and say that he's pro-choice. Let's put Roe versus Wade back in, make it, legal across the whole federal government, take the power away from the states, whatever, abortions for everybody. The headlines would literally read, Donald Trump wants women to kill their babies. Like, it's just, the Trump derangement syndrome with these people is just absolutely fascinating. Only one other president did it without costing the taxpayers besides Trump. Yeah, nobody wants to talk about that, though. Yeah, that would be cool. And the Epstein list. The Epstein list would be really cool, but yeah. Oh well. But where was I? Let's go back over here. All Californians will be affected by. We already read that part. For instance, the new Capitol Annex will be wider, longer, and taller. Giggity, giggity, giggity. Than the historic building it replaces, despite commitments to follow the Secretary of the Interior guidelines of historic properties. The annex's glass exterior will clash with the original white plaster Capitol, visually overpowering the 1860s landmark. How did we get here? So costing the taxpayers a bunch of money for something really stupid and ugly that nobody wants. Silence. Radio silence. Trump adds a ballroom to the White House, says he's going to pay for it. Massive outrage. You don't hate the mainstream media enough. Let me see if I can find that post from the Daily Wire. Bear with me here. Just talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. People with Trump derangement syndrome have a mental illness and need to be put away in mental institutions. Discuss. No, not that one. Oh, this one was fun too. Troller in chief, official White House website updated to include Democrat scandals. So we're talking about the sanctity of the White House, right? LSU would hire Nick Saban as football coach again. They might actually be happy if Trump supported Roe v. Wade because abortion is one of the sacred tenets of their faith. But the thing is with that, though, is that whatever Trump says, whatever a conservative says, they have to automatically be against it. So I think he should really start trolling people with this stuff and like start just telling like, oh, you know, studies say that it's bad to drink dog urine. And then before you know it, all these liberals will be posting videos of themselves drinking dog piss. Yeah, it really is. It's really certifiable. Let's see. So official White House updated to include Democrat scandals. Let's peruse. On the White House website, the major events timeline outlines the changes made to the White House over the years, and they added some updates yesterday. Bill Clinton scandal. Boom. Number 1. 1998. Muslim Brotherhood visit. Obama hosts members of the Muslim Brotherhood, a group that promotes Islamist extremism and has ties to Hamas. Oh, that's fun. That was in 2012. The Muslim Brotherhood is a designated terrorist organization by nearly a dozen nations. That's fun. Wow. Cocaine discovered. Hunter Biden. We all know about that one. That just happened 2 years ago. Additional evidence includes a laptop seized in 2019, which contains photos of frequent drug use alongside emails about foreign business dealings with Ukraine and China involving his father, Joe, while he was vice president. But again, they want to talk about how Trump is a criminal. Oh, he's a convicted felon. It's like, well, obviously he wasn't convicted because he's not in prison and he was allowed to be elected president again. So let's, Trans Day of Visibility. The Biden-Harris administration hosts transsexuals and transgender people on the at the White House in 2023 and goes on to establish the Transgender Day of Visibility on the same day as Easter Sunday 2024. Yeah. What about this one? These are some more. All right, here's some other fun ones. These are all coming to you from the Daily Wire here, by the way. Dems lose their mind over White House construction. Gavin Newsom ripping apart the White House just like he's ripping apart the Constitution. You might want to set this one out too, Gavin. Ripping apart the Constitution. Let's talk about COVID and you going out to spend like $1,000 on a meal at French Laundry. Hillary Clinton, it's not his house, it's your house, and he's destroying it. Also might want to sit that one out. Your husband did some pretty nasty stuff with an intern in the Oval Office. Dems, the White House grounds are sacred. Rainbow flags, Trans Day of Visibility, Bill Clinton scandal. White House is historic, you can't change it. Also Dems, defacing statues, removing statues. Rioters near White House try to tear down presidential statues, set up Black House Autonomous Zone. In case the libs forgot. Some previous presidents here. Built the West Wing, added the Oval Office, built an indoor swimming pool, added East Wing, gutted and rebuilt the White House interior, added bowling alley, game room, press briefing room, built indoor basketball court. He's destroying the White House. Really? Look, East Wing way over there, which I think Steffi said basically looked like an old trailer. Here's the White House residence. Here's the West Wing. Here's the South Lawn. Oh, he's destroying the White House. Newsom allows entire sections of California to burn to the ground. Liberals. Crickets. Trump builds a ballroom at the White House using his own money. Liberals. No! You can't make this shit up anymore. You really can't. And I think that was pretty much the post I was looking for. It was showing all the different presidents and all the different things that have been added over the years. This unhinged rant from AFC. I don't think I can listen to that again. I don't want to talk about that one. I can't do it. See if I have anything fun, like saved memes or anything of that nature. What do we got here? No, we watched these last week. Watched those. Already seen those. Yeah. No, I don't know. I think this might be a short one today. Gonna end it a little early because I think I've got all my ranting out, and that's about it. I really trying to find like some pictures of the California Capitol, but like I said, it's hard pressed to find what's going on with the Capitol here in California. Meanwhile, everybody wants to talk about what's going on at the White House, which is a very non-issue at the moment. Let's see here. California Capitol construction images. These are all old, like the old black and white stuff. Like there's just not there. Okay, okay, there's something. That one. Is that what they're doing? Good Lord. It's like some sort of like Scientology cathedral or something. That is awful. So from that to that, wow. And this one actually is costing the taxpayers money, but you know, I don't know. People just, I don't know.
And that's all I have to say about that.
So yeah, I don't know. I think it's about I think the stream has sort of run its course tonight. So thank you guys all for hanging out. We had Lady Marine, one of my oldest friends in the whole wide world, Kyle, tuning in while he's supposed to be working. Appreciate you, buddy. Don't lose any fingers at work. We got Cajun Corey tuning in as well. Good to see you, brother. So yeah, that was fun. I should be back next Monday. You know, again, barring any sort of issues of having to get my house tented for termites or anything, which I'm really thinking probably not going to have to happen at this point. But again, if any of you or I'm not licking poisonous toads. If any of you are tuning in for the first time, I appreciate you being here. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, set that bell to all so you get notified every time I go live every Monday at 6:30 p.m. California time. If you are watching or listening on Spotify or catching the live stream on YouTube, same thing. Drop a comment. Head on over to YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like the stream, share it out there for others to see. You know, the whole spiel, the whole thing, everything. Yeah, hope you guys all have a great rest of your Monday. Have a great week, and I will see each and every one of you next Monday. Cheers.
Be excellent to each other.
This has been Late to the Party News. Make sure to like and share this video for others to see. Subscribe to the channel and set notifications to all so you get notified every time we go live or post a new video. Thanks and good night.